Crypto and blockchain will move on and forward. It doesn't matter how far it comes down from 70 to 20, only 1/3, 2/3 gone, 1/3. But it has had 100,000x from the beginning. So if it goes down another 10,000x, or maybe, that will be a bit something.
Yes, I hear you, but my issue with crypto is that the volatility, it doesn't create any kind of stability. Imagine that you're a millionaire in the morning and you're homeless at night. I mean, that's what we basically, with the little, in countries like El Salvador or Central Africa, the people, they're basically counting on crypto. It's like, in the morning you have everything, and the next day is just you're totally you're out, and that's what I'm talking about. That's the issue.
The point is this, that whether classic stock markets or the new stock markets, which is the crypto market, or the entire industry as a sector, all are fake. These are all not gaming and gambling only. They are made for people who know how to manipulate this. So all of this pump, dump, buy, and pump. Dump, buy is all destroying, stealing money from the poor. Of course, that shouldn't be the norm, the arrangement. So I am not much caring about what I call speculation, or I call it the crowd financing. And first issuing coins, giving promise of white paper, which from the beginning they don't plan to deliver. That's not my version of blockchain. The version is for any form of industrial and asset integration, and find inefficiencies and create efficiency by blockchain. Then once it is operations has the foundation of it, then on top of that foundation, I call it like a horizontal, like a printed circuit board. Once it is very active and it is moving, then it creates heat because it is like a magnetic field. That becomes the reason for issuing coins. Coins backed by real, either assets or operations. As simple as that. Then those will not be so volatile. Even then, I have a hybrid system design. Just like your Bank of America wallet. There are 3 accounts. The top and the bottom are only stable coins. But the top are the assets that are developed, like the iceberg whose top tip we are chipping. Those are the economies that are visible, the current trading. Even those will be backed by assets or operations. So that's the part that will be stable coin. Then below is digital data coin. The data of all the assets under the ground, not yet developed, not yet actualized, but that's like the futures. Those can also be traded on stable coins. These two cannot be on anything to do with volatility. But then they are sandwiched in between investment coin, where once the upper line and the lower line, and there are loops that are connecting to them, when they become active and there is digitalization, monetization on stable coins, the surplus of that will be migrated into the investment coin, which will bring the upside. The upside will be more stable, and it's because it is 2 layers of stable coins on it. So it's like the whole water not coming with big waves, but coming as a tide. All of it rises. So that should be the larger affluence creation, not partial, and therefore only as an irregularity. I'm talking about the rise of wealth on irregularity, not irregularity. That's the differentiation factor between my concept of blockchain and the majority. So, or imagine a power grid. If it is not stable, volatile, of course burns the houses and the factories. So of course you want stable there. But it doesn't mean stagnant. Stable coin doesn't mean stagnant coin. Many loops of energy can come to the power grid, does not shake it, and it goes in smooth and exits smooth, but the entire capacity rises. That's my model that I am designing.
At hand. It's not so much about the concept. So if there is no sort of legitimate institution that is actually behind the market, and actually it's an institution that looks after the well-being of the members of society, and it's not at the whim of a few investors, and that's what I'm talking about.
For sure, again, you're correct that it needs regulation, it needs overseeing agencies, so that's why I'm promoting as a leader in the industry of beginning blockchain, and it's against the governments and against centralization of anything, and including centralization of banks or governments, so decentralized. But it shouldn't be. It should be again a hybrid of government adoption, institutional adoption, public adoption, corporate adoption, and mass adoption in a very unanimous, not unison, unison and a balanced order. But more than that, don't think that those regulatory agencies that they are really taking care of the best interests of the masses. No, to a little bit of degree they are, but actually even within them there are corruptions, and there are also systematic corruptions. So all the stock market 100 years are also a place where people are very few who are market makers, and who the hedge funds that do shorts, and then, as I said, pump, then dump. And so it's like musical chair that many people get deprived. And there's a few who are really playing the markets. One by one, project by project, they're playing the market. Any coin that is issued, whether it is crypto or the shares of public listed companies, they play that one by one, project and company, and they play the entire exchange, and they play the entire industry. There are those who are playing the entire macroeconomy of pump and then dump and short, and then buying it, and they are robbing masses out of their monies. This is the reality of the world. This is not a Baha'i world. Of course, it has to change. And that's why I never bought 1 penny of stock or 1 penny of crypto. But doesn't mean that I'm against crypto or against blockchain and against even exchanges. We have to be in anything, and we ensure that we are guiding it to the right direction. Not by being aloof and out of it, but have to be very much involved in it. We ourselves don't get into the dirty part of it. We guide it to the clean part of it, and we guide an entire generation and entire enterprises, ecosystems and systems. So that's I agree with you, just how we will handle it. The phenomena, I agree. In fact, I'm unraveling or revealing the systematic illness in it even more. It is even more than the eye meets. But we have to start somewhere to change. To be insider, then you have calling among the community, and then your voice will be heard. And once enough critical mass have heard your voice and you are involved in restructuring things, then that's where you are effective.
It's obviously, digital economy is going to be the future, but the way that it's going to be managed, that is the main issue. That is the issue at hand. And so it could be like a way of taking people's money, basically without any, it's like a bank robbery. I mean, basically that's what it is, that you're counting on that money in the bank and then bam, it's gone. It's, and that's the sad picture that is evolving.
Absolutely, it is like a mega bank robbery. It has been for 100 years in any stock markets, in all the stock market industries and all the corporates that are playing in it. Of course, still it has a lot of positive side. People raise monies in the stock market. They create a lot of technologies and a lot of useful contributions to the world, as we see, but yet the market players, they play on it, and it is like a bank robbery, an aggregation bank robbery, and that is the fact. But the solution, always, like Marx reviewed the problem of exploitation through the means of production of laborers, and really transferring the laborers to value addition without giving them the due returns, but only a wage salaries on bare minimum. Yeah, he saw like a scientist that has a microscope and looks how these cells and these tissues work, but his analysis of the situation of the economic disorder was quite correct, but his solutions were wrong. So now take armed revolution and equalize everything and give the means of productions to the state, not to the hands of the private. Kill anything to do with incentive and motive. So his solutions were like very coarse and like, you can call it the butcher doing precision surgery. Of course it didn't work at all. You know the destructions of Stalin and of Mao, and better of the great leap forward that was actually great destruction of economy backward, and things of this nature. So it's the solutions, how we will handle, that matters.
There is no moral authority behind it. There is no any kind of authority that you regardless of how the market fluctuate, that the well-being of the members of society is safeguarded. And so that's basically, we're already, the stock market is kind of, it's like going to Las Vegas in a way.
And on the poignant terminology of moral authority, very meaningful. The point is that just like the child in its early childhood, the moral authority are who? Are the parents. But a child that is grown beyond teenager, the moral authority should be themselves, and should be the greater society, and should be awareness and knowledge and wisdom. And so what it means is that the moral authority, even in economy, is no longer should be just only certain government and policies and oversight, and it has to be the maturity of the industry itself and the players in the industry themselves, and awareness and knowledge of what are the scams in the blockchain and what are the real underlying values being integrated and created, efficiencies created, and understanding and a judgment call by the greater community. If that kind of maturity, that's why Baha'u'llah emphasizes on all levels in any field the collective maturity of humanity. The collective maturity of humanity. Only then, there, we will have a chance for self-saving and society saving and the collective masses. Why these masses play on these markets? They find shortcut for wealth creation, just like game and gambling. And they do it without independent judgment. Again, herd mentality. And well, why should they do that? They don't have any fault, because they are on that, we can call it economy of wage taking, and they don't have any means of a faster growth of their monies. And so they are lured into these markets, and if they have good judgment, they'll make it. Even when they make it, all of a sudden they may lose it, and often they don't even make it to begin with anyway. That's the state and plight of humanity. Okay, and so the real enemy is neither the blockchain and crypto and exchanges, and it is actually still the greed in humanity. At the same time, it is the inequality of the systems, and then at the same time, it is lack of knowledge, and it is not only lack of transparencies, but lack of knowledge, and also it is lack of judgment and ability of maturity again, to know, to understand. So much lessons are in store for humanity to learn from sufferings and self-inflicted, compatriots inflicted sufferings, and it's the time that all of these issues come to the forefront. They are viewed, understood by the masses, and hopefully other rounds of a higher order will appear, will emerge in the community and in the ecosystem itself. It will have self-adjusting phenomena. Like any new thing that happens, there is not much knowledge around it. There is a fear factor, there is a denial factor, there is a rejection factor, there is a remorse factor, why we did it, and then there is jumping, a herd mentality factor, and then that's why moderation and balance and order and stability while growth. We cannot, for the sake of stability, forfeit growth, and not for the sake of a fast growth shortcut, forget about the fundamentals. It's all polysarat. You have to have balance from all sides. Polysarat in this modern civilization is no longer just a thin wire hair. Only you can fall from two sides. No. Here you can fall from 200 sides. It is very dynamic, and you are like the dot matrix megapixels, dots that are constantly changing, and as the heat is added from the state of solid, they become the state of liquid, and then they become the state of gas, and they are in both limbo and in the vibration and in fast move, and there is a lot of friction and hitting. So how do you make a higher order while the dynamic and the vibrations are there? That's the meaning of the fiddler on the roof. You play the most beautiful violin while the ground under you not at all stable. So yes, the challenges of humanity are actually pushing the sophistication for maturity and for much deeper understanding of any phenomena in its inner reality, rather than just the surface, rather than to look at one facet. So that's the meaning of maturity, is to see things from multifacets and to balance all the seemingly contradictory elements. Even moderation, it doesn't mean the middle of two factors. It means the balance of myriads of factors. So even the definition of what is moderation, the same analogy of polysarat, is no longer the two extremes that you fall from one to the other. It's the myriads of factors that one has to master how to manage.
But I think that we're going to see the downfall of this kind of behavior. It cannot have any place in the future of a world commonwealth, a global community, where the well-being of individuals, socially, economically, ecologically, is protected. And you need the right institutions that are actually running the show. Not just anybody can get up early in the morning, just start a coin or a new cryptocurrency.
Of course, it has no place. These faulty, extreme tendencies that end up for the destitution of the masses and the wealth accumulation. And even that model has changed. It's no longer a destitution on the one hand and wealth accumulation on the other hand, because even the accumulated wealth may all of a sudden just evaporate. So yeah, so the complexity of the order of an old world order's destruction, the complexity of the new world order's construction, both are increasing. So it's no longer even a simplistic model of any of the concepts and systems of the past. They are all being tested within themselves, by themselves, interplayed with each other, and interplayed within the minds and psyches of the operators of them, who are the humans, and all the attachments, prides, and glorifications, and so many of the human perceptions, not even values, are being tested and are being reshaped in this process, albeit with the pain of lots of poor who don't even have food on the table. So that's why I'm still in the classic economy. I am also a champion of the modern new digital economy, and while I'm in the digital economy, I never allow myself to fall into this crazy of the, again, even self-extreme hallucination for large money making in a short time, and at the same time you can lose it in a short time. So I guess diversity and stability, at the same time the growth, at the same time there's many factors, again, elements that have to be mastered, managed at the same time. That's the only definition of maturity. And the first definition of maturity is giving. If the whole economy, as you said, fundamentally changes from taking economy to the giving economy, that's when the collective maturity of humanity has dawned. The signs of that is exactly this. Whenever we have observed, as you are correct, the Baha'i economy of the future is the giving economy, not the taking economy. Making, giving. That's why wealth generation and wealth distribution at the same time, seamlessly, without hesitation, and in fact systematically.